Under the warm Ardisian sun, the roar of finely tuned V8 engines fills the air as the Tanso group descends upon the legendary circuit de Jerez, known for its flowing layout, technical corners, and rich motorsport history. Jerez presents the perfect challenge for those precision-engineered machines. From the iconic Cinto Pos curve and the demanding hairpin of dry sack, drivers must balance raw speed with surgical precision to conquer the 2.7-mile circuit. As the Tanso Racing Group elite drivers push the limits of grip and skill, fans are treated with the sympathy of power, adrenaline, and wheel-to-wheel action. Get ready for our electrifying showcase of the GT3s tonight, mastering one of Spain's most celebrated tracks. I am Dean Biggles, and joining me once again is Mr. Jim Cunningham from a little cold Texas, if not perhaps snowing in Houston soon, my friend.
Yes, the weather has something has gone awry. It's going to snow in Texas. It's the world is out of balance.
I was going to say, mate.
So,
you usually have cowboy. I'd imagine Texas is like, out there with the horses and cowboys and all that sort of stuff. Not snowing and snowstorms.
Right. It's going to be interesting. The entire city of Houston will shut down because they have no equipment to handle this kind of weather at all. Pretty funny, actually. But it's great to be here at Circuit de Jerez.
Jerez is the one, yes.
Jerez,
yes. Yeah.
Well, I believe me, I went on the pronunciation finder to learn how to pronounce it. Apparently a beautiful track in Spain. I do not have any experience here as far as racing here, so I won't have that insight tonight, but just from looking at it during the practice session, it looks like a great track, and it looks like it's going to be some fun side-by-side racing. A lot of technical corners on this track, some that are high speed, some that are high braking zones. Should be interesting.
And, well, I was going to say, my friend, because, the Americanos are invading España over here in this neck of the woods, and it is... Well, you're not the only Americano that will be joining us tonight, my friend. We do have Dylan based by Dylan Bliss and Gene McClellan.
We're going to go with Gene, yes. I have not got a clarification on Gene's name, but until I do, we're gonna call him Gene. So, so we've got a couple of Americans here, and we know Dylan, he's the one that runs the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine livery on his car with his dog Kona. Got to be a fan favorite with Kona up there in the front. Good
memory, my friend.
Yes. Well,
and I thought you were the eldest of us here, and you've got the sharpest tool in the shed memory, the walking Wikipedia, Mr. Jim Cunningham.
Yes, walking Wikipedia, that's right. Yes, I'll see what kind of facts I can throw at you tonight. It won't be any about this track, though. I was
going to say, because we're not in your neck of the woods, mate. You do know everything about every nook and cranny. You even know when that concrete was laid on some of those tracks and the bitumen put down in your neck of the woods. But, of course, over here in Europe, it's a little different kettle of the fish. But it's good to have your perspective of that, Jim, because you know motor racing. You know a lot of motor racing around the world. You know different cars and things like that. And get your experience here in España. We can throw some tapas, sit around, have some tapas, and some fine, Spanish dishes that you have.
Yes.
As we're watching
good Spanish wines.
Some Spanish wines.
People don't know a lot about Spanish wines. Spain produces a lot of wonderful wines.
That it does. I was about to say wine, and I was just kind of thinking, well, depends if people are going to be understanding what I'm talking about with the wine. Just underway in our qualifying session, and do welcome everybody. Say hello. I don't bite much. Jim, maybe. But we'll try to keep you as entertained as possible. And Nazi, an American over here in a European league. So, yes, we'll absolutely try to do our best.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this track, though, man. I'm really excited to see this race. I'm gonna go put some laps in on this track really soon. This place looks fun. I wish I was out there driving with them tonight.
You get to use it. It's a Usually, I always have the co-commentator and the other commentator with me. I always say, okay, it's you got to give us one of these fantastic JPB onboard lap guides as we ride shotgun with somebody. But I won't throw that into you, Jim. And I'm not I'm not a driver as well, too, and I really don't know this track that well. I should, because I've been here probably a good chunk and change over and over again in the past 3 or 4 years of commentating, but I still don't know it like the back of my hand. I don't know it like Italy, like Monza. I don't know it like Spa. I don't know it like Bathurst. I don't know it like Silverstone. But it certainly has been in the Formula One calendar a few times. As you can see on your track map, there's obviously a huge hairpin right here. You'll dig it down there, spot the apex, get on the loud pedal, and then try to cross it. It's actually going to cut over to the very left-hand side to try to take the shortest path across the line, and bang, right there. We'll slow it all down. That is Baz Cutting, currently in 11th place. But that is it for our qualifying, Mr. Jim.
Did they just finish up, or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wow. It's a whole different set of names up there. It's very interesting.
We'll butcher them. Don't worry, Jim. You and I are quite good at that. And we've told the drivers, we say hello. When you're watching it back, if we do get it wrong, please send us a DM, and then we'll make sure we correct it for the next race.
So we got somebody in YouTube chat saying they cannot hear the cars at all. So we need to make a little adjustment there.
I am working on that. I do apologize. It is there. It's unfortunately just ridiculously quiet on some cameras and corners and things like that. If I go on board, it should be a little louder, but thank you. I'll certainly address that one, as we will be addressing the grid very, very soon. They are finishing the qualifying, just nobody's out there. I think it's just about
I think we have a minute left or so. So if there's nobody out on track, there does not look like there's going to be any more laps put down. Again, I don't have a lot of reference for how fast the fastest laps are, but from what I can see, the top half of the field is bunched up pretty close. We've got we're going to have about the top 15 in just a little bit over a second and a half from each other. So, and not a huge field tonight.
No, I think, Jim,
cars.
we still got a lot of people that are probably a little exhausted from the Daytona 24, because I noticed that's been happening in a lot of racing leagues early this week, and no doubt why, because it's just across the board, mate. It's not just specifically here at Tanso.
It's entirely possible too that this is not the most popular track. Obviously, maybe a lot of people don't own it. And decided to skip it for that reason. They're already tired from doing the 24 or something like that, and decided not to purchase the track. But it's still 18 cars are out there. It's gonna be a nice grid tonight.
Angel Nito is the track. I tried to do it, and you believe it or not, I lived in Panama for a good chunk and change of about 10 years. You think my Espanol would be absolutely perfecto, but it's not. But there's your weather conditions at the moment. It is 18 degrees Celsius. I'll keep it in the Celsius because we're in the European area over here, my friend, and partly cloudy, so it's a little chilly. Not as chilly as it is in Houston, Texas right now, but certainly for these drivers, they're going to feel it. I'm going to keep going on about that one. I'm going to try to come up with my puns about being cold and snow in Texas or something like that. It must be so. I'll see if I can come up with some sort of songs like it's snowing in Houston or something like that.
Yeah. Did you go look up the Oscar Mayer song?
I did not. No. That's a reference you'll get if you've watched the previous stream. I think it was with Jim and myself. Jim, we have a grid. And
we do. Let's see
you would like to read
the
grid for us, my friend?
Yeah, I will. I'm looking forward to this. All right, so on pole tonight, Craig Korish, with I can't read his lap time from where I'm sitting, but Craig Korish on pole, Andy White sharing the front row with him. On the second row, Gene McClune and Peter Duke. On the third row, we have Tim Reed and Leah Anderson. And I want to apologize to Leah. I called her Lee all last week, and I did not get her name pronunciation right, but it is Leah Anderson. On the next row, we have Jared Love and Harry Hartley Price. And Jared Love is the first of our amateur drivers with a nice qualifying spot, 7th overall. Next row, we got Phil Giles and Dylan Based Bliss. I will eventually get that right. Boz Cutting and Peter Woodmore on the next row. And let's see.
Switching it over for you, my friend. There you go.
It's going slow this evening. All right, let's see where we're at here. So we got Scott Kostrick and Adrian Hadfield, Mark Wesley and Sean Clark, John Johnston and Christopher Haynes rounding out your field. And it looks like everyone put in a qualifying time. So that's good. Everybody got a few laps out there. I noticed in their Discord chat for the group, several of them were talking about that they are not very familiar with this track. So, but here we are. We're coming to green. Pace car's off. Let's see how we go here.
Absolutely. Hopefully the audio is a little better. And thank you very much for letting us know that. I don't want to have a race with these fantastic GT3s and you can't hear the engines. Green flag. Let's go, Jim.
We are green, green, green. Let's go racing.
Oh, and somebody hasn't even gone off the start-finish line almost in the background. I think that's Christopher. Yeah. We'll keep our eyes peeled at the front. We'll go back and have a look at the replay on that one. Craig manages to maintain the lead of this one, but big challenge there with Gene and Andy for the battle for P2.
Yeah, Gene was running up front all last week and then had a connection issue, I believe, and lost connection leading the race, which was horrible. So far, it looks like everybody got away good except for Christopher back there. It looks like maybe somebody possibly got in the back end of him. We'll look at that in a minute once everything settles out. So, yeah, we got Craig Corrish out there leading with Gene McClune right behind. Andy White in third. Andy had a good run last week. Peter Duke is slid in there in fourth. And Leah Anderson, she finished on the pole last week. She's in fifth place. And right now, Jared Love slid up into eighth place, and he is top amateur right now. And Dylan Base Bias is Bliss. I'm saying Bias now. Dylan Base Bliss and Phil Giles are rounding out your top 10. We got 2 amateurs in the top 10 so far, which is pretty nice to see.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I'm hearing the audio, but super low car noise. That's exactly the one. I'll try to boost it up. You'll have to listen to your ears when you go on board because it will be loud. And it's just some of those track cameras aren't as loud, so we'll have to do a little bit of a balancing act. We may need Dylan Bliss, and we're going to call him DBB, so we'll get some DBB game there from Dylan, the man from the United States. And Gene into P2, Andy White P3, Peter Duke in P4. So just to switcheroo between second and third, Peter Duke stays in his spot. Leah Anderson up into P5, 1 place gained.
Yeah, when we do get a chance, I'd love to see what happened to that car in the back of the field. Is he still on? Yeah, he's still on the track.
Here we go. He'll be a replay of our rolling start, and you'll see Christopher doesn't really get too much off the start. I think there's contact. Yes, there is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's almost like he kind of might have swept across the other car's nose there. Maybe he didn't realize there was a car on the outside of him there.
I think he's had another moment since then, but Peter Woodmore also has had a moment, and let's have a look at the 189 machine around the hairpin, and just going to see if it goes a little bit pearl-shaped. Yes, it is. Looks like it just got on the marbles, but there shouldn't be any marbles forming just yet, just on the outside. It goes to hit loud pedal, and perhaps little cold tires still early in this race into the sunset that we have currently at the moment in Jerez, Espanol.
Yes, beautiful. It's actually, this is, I love this track. I really do. I'm really excited to go put some laps down here. So we're settling out there in the front. We still got Gene and Craig are still pretty close to each other. Oh, we got another little incident here.
This is Mark Wesley. I don't know if they've come together here. He's gone into the corner, spotted the apex there, but Jesse's actually just lost it, so no contact with any of the drivers. Scott Krostick and Adrian Hatfield are exchanging Christmas cards early on lap 3.
Yeah, Craig Core still out front up there, and they're pulling away a little bit from everybody else. We've, I tell you, this track looks, the way these cars are handling and behaving, the track looks kind of slick. Like it's, you know, I don't know if it's a worn surface or just, just a kind of a slick natured track, because that hairpin looks tough. We've seen a couple of cars spin there already.
Yeah, we're going to maybe see another spin soon. These gentlemen behave themselves as Peter Woodmore is trying to make his way back up after having a little incident early, and certainly is making gains on Adrian Hatfield and moving himself back up into P14. And he's going to try to slice his dice his way past Scott Krostick and Adrian Hatfield just up the road from him. Meanwhile, at the lead, Craig still in the lead here with the Porsche doing the Porsche things and the Porsche doing Jean's things behind, keeping him honest, and they're starting to build a tiny little gap to Andy White in the P3 position.
Yeah, it's good to see, like the Mercedes had kind of died off for a while. It's good to see Mercedes up there in the front. We've had the balance of power, or whatever they call it, that they did for the 24 Hours of Daytona, put back, like the Mercedes came back to being a more popular car over the Daytona week, because it seemed to be one of the fastest there. So it's nice to see that. It's fun to. The problem is with a league like this, I believe you choose your car and you have to run the same car all season, and so if you pick something that takes a big balance hit, that'll really mess you up. As we were talking, I believe last week, we still don't have a Ford Mustang in the field, and it does not look like we have a Corvette either tonight.
No,
America not well represented in Spain tonight at all.
And, well, you have a new president today as well. Maybe you'll sort that out, because apparently I heard on the news, we won't get too much into politics, but you're going to be bringing the oil back into the United States. You're going to produce your own oil and gas, and you're going to have the world's best supply, apparently, my friend. So.
Like I said, without getting politics involved, being in the great state of Texas, we have a big part in the oil business, so we always... That's always good for the state's economy.
You'll be firing all those oil rigs back up again there and doing that. But once again, he's the Scooby-Doo machine of DBB that we're now calling him Dylan, because I don't know how many times I've unfortunately messed up your name. And
I know.
But
what's funny is I had it good.
DBB, where are you? We're over here.
Oh no!
I did it. That's the first and last time we'll be doing it during this broadcast, and thank you for tuning in.
Oh, my son, he's at that age where he's starting to grow a little, scruffy beard. I tell him he looks like Shaggy. Yeah, and so he walks around the house talking like Shaggy.
Oh, Jim.
No, see, I thought you said it was going to be the last time.
Thought he had. I did the Shaggy voice, then I went to the Scooby one. Harry Hartley Price, that's not a law firm. That is the McLaren piloted by the 98 machine, piloted by the man that could run a law firm with that name. Harry is on the tailpipe of Leah Anderson, and she's trying to hold him off there in the Porsche, blue Porsche, the 199s. Far so good.
Apparently, that is the color of her Radical. She owns and races a Radical in the real world, and apparently that's almost the exact same color as her Radical from the photos I've seen. So apparently, she likes that blue.
And you can't miss it.
No,
I think it's right. And plus, Leah is under the Scottish flag, so that'll work quite well. You have a lot of blue in the Scottish flag.
Yes. Yeah, let's see, I'm trying to see here if, there's another, I knew there was another Scottish flag out there, Kostrek.
Kostrek, yes, exactly. There's two Scots on the field here this evening, at least the ones that are under the Scottish flag. Let us know if the audio is a little bit better. I've boosted it up. I think please. There's one particular camera out there that might blow our eardrums to pieces on one of the cars, but so far it should be boosted quite well for the trackside audio. We do our absolute best here as much as we can at the JP Broadcasting Network. And look at this gaggle of cars, my friend, down the
That's a nice little pack.
backstretch.
Yeah, it's a nice little pack they're running together. So they're all, what is that? That's 10th?
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
Battle for 12th,
Okay,
give or take, around
12th,
here.
12th,
exactly. Yeah. John Johnson in the lead, just up the road there from Scotty, and they're trying to hold off Sean Clark, Tim Reed, Adrian Hatfield, and Peter Woodmore. Oh, there we go.
A nice
and I think that is...
That's Leah.
Leah, yep. And
past Peter Duke.
Peter Duke got the job done down the road. Not sure if Leah went off the track a little bit. That seems like there's quite a bit of a gap there. And now Harry Hartley-Price still... No, Harry, that was the situation, wasn't it? Leah was still holding off Harry.
No position change there. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to these cars, who's driving what and the paint schemes and all of that, being a new league for us. But I promise you, as the season goes on, we'll get better and better at that.
And that is John Johnson running a little wide at the moment. He's going to put him on a massive attack there from Sean Clark, as well as Tim Reed and Adrian Hatfield are lurking in the background. This is where you can throw a blanket over, as you guys like to say in the United States. Back in this position.
That is a statement that they use around here a lot. Yeah, that's a nice little group of cars, though. It looks like some fun racing right there. It's not always about running for the lead. You get in a pack like this, and y'all are all fighting for position. That's so much fun. It doesn't really matter what position you're fighting for in a spot like that.
Kicking up some of the kitty litter all on the front windscreen of Adrian Hatfield. And hopefully he's got some windscreen wipers on there that they can elect to use, or a tear-off, as we are on lap 7 here for the Tanso Racing Group. GT3 action up the road! What happened there? I think they're all still pointing in the right direction there, Jim, but...
yeah.
Wow! No, not anymore.
And that's on you. That one's on you right there.
Sorry, JJ, mate. Yeah. I did not mean to do that. It was kind of inevitably building up. Hence the reason why I started pointing the cameras in this direction, my friend, because I just got a sneaking suspicion that push comes to shove, somebody was going off into the kitty litter, and bang, that's just because John Johnson ran a little bit wide there. Unfortunately, no tarmac out there, no grip, and the fence wanted to give him a cuddle. Yeah,
he definitely got a cuddle, all right. Yeah, no other cars involved though. I mean, he just simply got his tires out there on that.
Free hugs gravel. Here at Jerez anytime you want.
Yes, that's true. That's pretty funny. Boy, Peter Duke here. I mean, Harry Hartley-Price is all over Lee Anderson here.
On board is quieter too now. Yes, it is actually. So that's not too bad. So I can probably crank it a little bit more. Thank you very much for that feedback. We do appreciate it. Like I said, I dread it when I always watch the broadcast back later so that we can fix up anything that needs to be fixed up and stuff like that. And then realize what we're actually watching a replay at the moment too on that one. But yeah, going back and realize, damn, the audio should have been. I should have fixed that. Blah blah blah. So I appreciate when you give us that information.
Yes,
live.
Actually, Optimus Chills out there. That's a huge help. If you could continue to give us as we make adjustments to us, let us know. That's the only way at this point that we can know. So we really do appreciate that.
Yeah, iRacing, I did a big change on it with some settings that I had to fix and stuff like that, and it just unfortunately messed with a lot of the audio settings, and that just means that with the about 500 different tracks that I have to update every single one. And we're talking about a lot of cameras too on these tracks. It takes quite a bit of little fine-tuning adjustment. Craig has been fine-tuning the 713 Porsche leading this one, but he's just got to keep focused at the moment, because look at that. Now we have the top 4 separated by a few kangaroo pouches.
Yes. Yeah, they're right there, one behind the other. That's well, and there's good racing in this league. They were doing the same thing last week. I mean, it was nobody walking away from anybody else. It was it was a good battle all the way to the end. Don't
have any standings, unfortunately, to show you up on the screen there, but perhaps Jim and do a little bit of homework to see how that current standings are, because this is now round 2. We didn't show, of course, anything because the slate was clean for round 1. But we got time, Jim. You don't have to go investigating too much.
Up.
Yeah. Yep, well, you'll be digging up some snow tomorrow, perhaps. I knew I'm going to keep going there, mate.
Oh, there it was. Whew, I hope they get better than that one, though.
Why? Are you having a chill down your spine?
Oh, here we go. You're a mess.
All right, don't forget, Jim's about 6'8" too, so he could just pick me up with his one hand, lift me up by my head probably, and move me around. So I've got the Pacific Ocean to separate us, my friend. So
yes.
I'm safe here.
Yeah, we're probably 10,000 miles apart.
Yeah, you might be right on that one. That's a good guess. Well, these drivers aren't 10,000 miles apart at the moment. The top 4 are separated by about 2 meters apart, as Jean, that we believe, and you said that's how you pronounce it in the United States, and he is from the United States.
Jean.
Still, yes. Jean.
But I don't know that to be a fact. That's just how we probably would pronounce that in the United States. But if it's not Gene, he's more than welcome to send me a little message and straighten me out. I'll be glad to pronounce it correctly.
He's probably afraid,
I got Leah.
of
I know, right?
6'8" man that's built like Shaquille O'Neal.
Actually, Shaquille O'Neal went to my college too.
Oh, really?
School.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
you're probably bullying him because you're like, yeah, you Shaquille O'Neal. Come on, you bullying Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. He's so small.
He was fun to watch in college. If you're a basketball fan, go Google some Shaquille O'Neal when he was at Louisiana State University.
You would have been a lot older. Well, no pun intended.
Older.
But yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm older. Yeah.
Than the Shaq, as we're watching Harry Hartley Price's law firm try once again. He's been a good chunk of change. Been just staring at the tailpipe there of Leah Anderson's Porsche, trying to find a way past. Can't quite get it done just yet, but certainly applying the pressure. We've seen this too, Jim, isn't it? Like another good thing that drivers do, a thing that drivers do like to do, is not just necessarily get the overtake done, but just put the pressure in the driver so that they're mirror driving and force them into a mistake.
Sure, yeah. And that's not a bad strategy, I don't know how many. Well, Leah doesn't know this track road. She was one of the ones that did not get a lot of laps here and did not know the track that well. But she's a tough overtake. If you watched last week, she can be difficult. She can make that car wide, and she's a real aggressive driver. But saying that, here, it looks like he's making a run on her right here.
Throwing the dummy in again, Jim. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Every time it looks like HHP is sticking his nose out there, he's just backing off when push comes to shove. And that's once again throwing the pressure there on Leah, because she doesn't really know. I don't think she's going to be knowing at this point. What is he doing? Is he going to go overtake? Is he? No, he's not.
Yeah, and that's a good common strategy. And they both kind of went off track there a little bit.
Yeah, that indicates to me that Harry is using Leah as the racing line and not the track itself, and that easily catches a lot of drivers off guard, which is why you see simultaneous off tracks and sometimes simultaneous spins. And you got to remember as a driver to focus on your own racing line and try not to necessarily don't use that car up the road as a racing line, because once again they make a mistake, so will you. So
yeah, I'm looking here. Of course we're watching this battle, which is really tight, but the battle for second, third, and fourth place, those cars are all within a second of each other.
It's going to be push come. So we haven't seen a great deal of on-track overtaking so far. So obviously Jerez is a little notoriously difficult, as definitely the lighting conditions here will be a little bit more difficult for the drivers soon, because this track is not illuminated, as you can see in your pictures, or it won't be illuminated very well. You'll have to rely on those little headlights to illuminate your way. Oh, we have a spinner off the track there. It's Mark Wesley, and he's just parked it there at the moment, patiently and thankfully waiting for our leaders to pass by. Exit the pits road, and I can guarantee you right here, mate, he's come down to this corner, probably locked it up there and go spun-a-roo exactly on cold tyres. Just come out of pit road.
That's a tough corner anyway, and cold tires, man. These cars, these cars are animals. Sometimes under with cold tires. GT3s are my favorite car to drive. But they can be a handful with cold tires for sure. And that's a horrible turn to go flying into at speed with cold tires.
You know, get yourself in there in a multi-million-dollar Formula 1 car and throw that around this track.
That'd be fun, actually.
Difficult.
I couldn't get into a
very
car.
Difficult. The W13s, 14s, whatever they are these days. I haven't even done a league in so long because there really isn't any. Because it's not a popular choice, the Formula 1 cars in iRacing. Just that way. But then again, they are the pinnacle of motorsport, so they're not actually. You only have 10 drivers that have the luxury of driving in them in a real world scenario, and you have to do a lot of open wheel racing in order to get up there, unless, of course, your name's Lance Stroll. Leah is in pit road early.
Well, I guess they're probably inside of their pit window. She's maybe trying a little undercut strategy since she hadn't made a lot of ground on them on the track, and so get in there, get a little undercut strategy, maybe get some clean track in front of you where you don't have somebody nipping at your heels the whole time that you're defensive driving and it's causing you to slow down a little bit. That might be a good strategy for her. She, like I said, she does have real world race experience, so I'm not saying that she would understand strategy any better than anybody else, but she's certainly utilized it some.
Well, absolutely. It's quite a handful, and you know it for a fact in real world scenario, because I think we all have been at least go-karting in our life once or twice, and you know how difficult physically it feels go-karting, and I'm sure Leah knows how difficult and physically it is to actually handle the cars, and then depending if you get your force feed all cranked up as well too, it can get quite physical sometimes and stressful endurance races. And of course some of these drivers might be coming off a Daytona 24-hour and sitting in their cockpit for a good chunk and change of, say, 2 to 3 hours, and usually in a race stint, you get quite exhausted, both mentally and physically, as we're still seeing this battle. Jim, I think at this point, if you were in the shoes there of Peter Duke, you think if they're slowing him down, maybe try that early pit stop like Leah did.
Yeah, as long as he feels like he's in his window, I don't think that's a bad strategy. But I don't know if I haven't really seen anybody take a real stab at. Well, there's one. That's back in. That's Leah back there. So that's Tim Reed, Sean Clark back in that area.
Yeah, Leah came out of pit road right here. And probably not where she wanted to be. Should have been fantastic if she cleared both of them. Now it's going to hold her up. And if her obviously idea in this pit stop strategy is to come out there and put bankers after bankers after bankers and then hopefully zoom on by them in the pit road right there, the other drivers have to box, she'll be laughing all the way to the checkered flag. But in this case, she won't be too happy about having to now try to get past Peter Woodmore and Tim Reed, and they have to both go down pit road themselves soon.
And she's you can see there every time they get into a corner, she's carrying more speed into the corner and braking later, and they are definitely let's just say that right now with freshies on her car, she's carrying a little quicker pace than those guys are right now. So yeah, they're definitely holding her up at this point. So I'm sure that it's not exactly the scenario to pop out in, like you said. But back to talking about what's going on up front, they're running nose to tail up there, but you don't really see anybody taking any real stabs at trying to do aggressive passing up there right now. I think that they are somewhat, I hate to use the word logging laps because that just sounds like, but I think that they're just waiting for the right opportunity.
Here it comes. Yep.
There she goes, yeah.
She sees the opportunity there, side by side, little argy-bargy, of course, between the two Porsches. So they're going to be even Stevens with cars. And no, Tim Reed shuts the door and says, sorry, Lee, it was a good attempt, but you'll have to try again.
Yeah, that was...
and she is... Maybe a day late, dollar short on that one. She has tapped and she has turned him. She's left it off. She realizes, my bad. Good sportsmanship. Unfortunately for Tim Reed, he couldn't quite get back on track there, and Lee's actually elected to go down pit road as well. So that's very, very interesting. Good sportsmanship. I thought Lee tried to seize an opportunity, but I think there was a little day late, dollar short on that one, and did turn Tim. Tim will go, you know what, I'll start to hit to the pit road anyway, so I might as well get it done now. Parks is in the wrong spot there, my friend, because, yeah, I was going to say, that's somebody else's pit box, and I think that's Lee Anderson's pit box. Where did Lee towed? Because how did Lee couldn't have possibly got ahead of Tim Reed in the pit box then, as you saw? Because she followed him after.
Well, she's... she couldn't have towed, though. We saw her drive in.
She must have towed, because if you actually look, she follows him in. We'll go back and have a look at that incident really quickly, because there's still no change at the front. So have a look at Lee. She'll put her nose in here, realise I didn't quite get the job done there. Tim did turn in. Now, there's Tim goes in pit lane.
Yep.
Lee says, I'll go in. And then if you have a look, he's already up the road. Lee pulls into the first spot here and then tows. Watch. Bang. And then we'll zap back into in front, exactly in that pit stop, where Tim tries to pull in there. So I've thought I've seen just about everything in iRacing. I've never seen anything like that before.
Wow. I'm trying to figure out what happened there. I
don't know why she would tow like literally 5 or 6 pit stalls down from where she was going to be anyway. That's an interesting one.
There's no way her car had that level of damage that she couldn't drive 4 or 5 pit stalls.
Yeah, she's still in the pit lane right now. As Baz is exiting, Adrian Hatfield's now entering in. Maybe they all feel bad for Leah down there, so they're coming to visit her. No, well, that's their scheduled pit stops at 105. That's Adrian Hatfield's beautiful livery you can see on his car. Further up the field, we're still waiting for some other drivers to head on down because there's no switcheroo at the front, but we still have Craig, Jean, Andy, and Peter duking it all out there. Peter, you know I was going to go there.
There it was. Peter Duke. That reminds me of talking. You know, we always reference movies. What was the Eddie Murphy movie with Dan Aykroyd?
Yes, that's the law firm of the Duke and Dukes.
Well, they were
the Duke brothers.
They were a commodities trading company, a stock market company. Yes, Duke and Duke.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll bet you $1. How's that sound? That you were right on that one.
Oh man! Yeah.
Here's one for you. Those two old guys in that movie, right? They also cameoed in another movie that Dan was in. Wonder if you know that one.
Let me think.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd was in.
Yes, and it was a popular movie in the 80s.
No, I remember it. I want to say. Was it Ghostbusters?
Yes, sir. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
You have it absolutely correct.
Yeah, well, you know.
It was the Ghostbusters, the two homeless people that they played. I think it's when Rick Morris was running around looking for his, what was it called again? Gatekeeper or something?
Yes. Well, they were also in, never mind. Well, they were in another movie, like an Eddie Murphy movie.
Yes,
too,
I think they were too. Yeah, right on that one.
And they played homeless guys, right?
Yeah, yep. And that could have been the movie they played homeless guys. It might not have been. I thought we always thought it was Ghostbusters, but they definitely were playing two homeless guys in another movie.
That was an Eddie Murphy movie, but I think that they were in Ghostbusters as well.
Yeah. Here we go. Pit stops, P1, P2.
Yep.
So this is going to be the battle of the pit stops you can see at the moment, isn't it?
P4 as well. Peter Duke's in as well.
Yep.
So Andy White's going to go out there and get him a lap or two out in front clean before he decides to pit.
Exactly. Looks like Lee might have retired the car there because she's
must
not
have.
in that one. And I don't know why, but she was still battling. She still had a good chance of getting some good points and no damage we saw visibly to the car. I mean, she couldn't have felt too bad about that little incident. Let's see who wins
I
the
don't
battle
think so.
out of pit road, my friend, because this could be crucial. If you do a short fuel or anything, you just get track position. Craig will still resume into the lead of this rate over Gene and Peter Duke, because they're in a pit road right now. There's the DBB that we call him, the Scooby-Dooby-Doo
There he
machine.
is.
And Peter Woodmore.
Say hello to Kona. She's on the front of the car, everyone.
Yeah.
In case you can't tell, I'm a huge dog lover. Don't let my little dog hear that, though. He'll
There he is.
start barking at
Hello,
me.
Kona.
Oh, there's Kona.
Oh, got to get eggs that are out of here. I don't
did
use that
get a
camera
bit-
too often, but that was actually quite perfect, I'd have to say, where DBB pulls out ahead of Phil Gillis, sorry, who has been down into pit road, as well as Baz cutting behind them. So that was definitely for track position, race position.
Yeah, so where's he at now? That puts him in 8th place, right behind Jared Love. And Jared Love is the top amateur right now in the race and sitting in 7th place.
Andy White comes in, and let's see if that staying out for the overcut's going to pay off, as Harry Hartley Price, the law firm driver of 98. I wonder if he actually is a lawyer in real life.
That would be hilarious if he
perfect,
really
wouldn't
is a
it?
lawyer.
Yeah. So they will come in. Now, whether or not Craig will be coming around, we'll get the track map up for everybody to get a good idea of how close this is going to be. There's the car number and there's the position.
So
Andy-
the only So the only driver we have that hasn't pitted yet is Scott Kostrick. That's the only driver on track that has not pitted yet.
You're right. Andy's coming out of pit road right now, and he's going to come back out and slot in P4 where he was before. So no changes at the sharp end of the tool shed, aka scoring board. Speaking of Scotty going to pit road, there he is.
Yeah, Andy White slotted back in 3rd. Yeah, right where he was at before. Peter Duke right behind him. Harry Hartley Price. The gap there has opened up between Peter Duke and Harry Hartley Price. They were, that's opened up a little bit. So the top 4 got in and got out a little better than the next couple of cars.
Do we have something out there at the moment? Jose actually was asking, where did Leah ever race in real life? And you mentioned that before when you asked. You had a conversation, didn't you, with Leah about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went to her YouTube page and her. Apparently he said just track days or something. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't.
But she
watch any
races
race
in
footage.
what? You said that's the
Radicals.
The
Yeah,
Radicals.
she has a radical.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess you could look her up there and have a look at her page. As
Yeah.
Jim
Yeah,
said.
I definitely know she owns
Jose.
a radical though for sure. So I don't know how much racing she's actually done in it, but she does own a radical. So yeah, I don't know where she went though. Oh, he's asking where she raced at. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that she owns a
we
radical.
figured off first year's Radicals, and then I guess if you did look at, I guess his racing over there in the UK, and you probably have a look at where the Radical Series would race, and put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
Or just shoot Leah a message and ask. I presume she'd be happy to probably answer that one. Gets a bit of a fan club out there as here comes the battle for PU1 on your pitches, and 20 laps later.
Yeah, they've spread out a little bit there. Andy White is now almost 2 seconds back, so he did. I would say he didn't gain anything by staying out his extra lap. If anything, he lost a second or so maybe. And then Peter Duke is now, I guess, three or so seconds behind him. They've spread out a little bit, but not. Gene just passed Craig.
Yeah, well, not quite yet. Well, you are.
Is he?
It's close.
Oh, you got him. Yeah. Yeah, he got him.
Now, that's only taken 20 laps to get it done, but hey, better late than ever. And
Right.
Gene up in 2 places currently at the moment, leading this one, but you've got to hold them off for a good chunk of change right now.
Yeah,
About 11 minutes remaining in our race.
I hate to bring this up, but this is the exact spot Gene was in last week. Gene took over the lead of the race and then ultimately had some sort of connection or computer issue or something, and had to retire from leading the race. Certainly hope that doesn't happen this time. I hate to see that for anybody.
Oh, of course. I think even the other drivers, of course, are battling it out. Don't ever want to see a connection issue. Of course, if it was in real life, it'd probably be a technical malfunction on the car. Everybody wants to just beat everybody on the track in the proper way.
Yeah.
And then, feels even better as a victory, doesn't it? Because you don't always want to have that what if they didn't have a connection issue? Would they have won the race?
Well,
you
always, these guys are all... they put in a lot of effort. Everybody knows how hard it is to get up here and lead these races and win these races, and to have an issue take you out of first place like that is, Lord knows we do enough to ourselves to take ourselves out of these top positions, much less have a mechanical failure.
Snowstorm coming through or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yeah. Or is that too soon?
Yeah, it's probably too soon yet.
Well, I mean, obviously, stay safe.
Fiber optic. Hopefully we won't have any issues with freezing. Last year, or it might have been 2 years ago now, we had this horrible freeze in Texas, and apparently our power grid here was not capable of handling.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And so they were doing roaming blackouts for hours at a time and stuff like that, and some people lost power for like 24 or 36 hours, and it was, well freezing. Which in Texas, these homes aren't prepared to, not as many people have fireplaces and things like that because it's not cold here that often,
Yep.
And it was a mess, man. People were in bad shape.
Yeah, poor you guys over in the States getting smacked around a little bit with all these crazy weather conditions and fires and things like that. But
oh man,
there's a little documentary on that little show on YouTube saying about how Texas and it's not connected up regularly to the rest of the power grid across the United States, so nobody can really even share the energy to offset that grid problems and things like that you could have in Texas. So that's issue. But, mate, I've got no problemo here. I've got solar, so, bring it on. The grid can go down. I can still continue to bring this broadcast until my batteries go flat. The only downside I'm going to have is that
if dingo eats your main power cable wire.
Well, I mean, if we had snow, then it'd be another kettle of fish, and it would be overcast, and I wouldn't get much solar energy, so those batteries would not last as much.
That's true.
That would also be a problem, too, if you've got plenty of sunshine down there in Texas, mate. But, if you do have those conditions, you're not going to get solar power either.
It's funny you say that. Of course, it's hot here in the summer. Like, I know there's plenty of places in Australia, y'all get over 100 and stuff like that.
Oh, you get that too, mate. Trust me, I've been in Texas. Yeah. It gets hot there.
Well, so we had, after a hurricane, we had big hurricanes here, and so we had a big one that knocked out the power grid for, a week or so for most people. That's the hottest I've ever been in my life, man. It was 100 degrees every day after that hurricane that came through. No wind, and nobody had power. And, again, we don't have homes that are built to where you can open them up and get a breeze. And there was no wind blowing outside. It was so hot. So bad, man.
Yeah, and it's...
I hate my neighbors, by the way. My neighbor has one of them fancy generators that kicks on the second your power goes out.
Oh, right, and generators, as you all know, are noisy.
Well, yes, it's not too bad, but it's noisy enough for you to know he has one.
Yes.
Knowing he's sitting back over there with a refrigerator working an air conditioner.
Yeah, and you're sitting there going, get out there the extension cable, mate, and go, hey, let me just plug in as well. Well, I mean, I lived in Panama. I lived out into a small town, which is it's beautiful. It's in a volcano, really. It's in a valley, and it has a lot of power outages because trees fall over and take the cables down and stuff like that because of the distance that they have to travel to go to this valley. And, I had a generator, mate, and we were probably the only one on the street that had a generator. And you'd see all the time we'd have our lights on. We'd be sitting inside there with the fridge going and all that sort of stuff. And all the poor neighbours and stuff like that would be just completely in the dark. But then you'd have Millionaire Avenue, which is around the corner from me. That's where all the rich people live, by the way, in Panama. And I know that for a fact because the guy that owns the airline would fly his helicopter in on the weekend because he wouldn't drive from the city to his house. Why drive when you can fly?
I'm all for that.
Lands in the front yard. I would know too, because I'd have to mute my microphone during broadcast, because a helicopter flying over is just something that I can't soundproof out.
That makes you sound important, though. They're coming to get me. His race is almost over. So here we're watching, got our eyes on Gene and Craig up front, and they've kind of spread out just a wee little bit. Any chance that we could go back and see that overtake again for the lead? Maybe look at it from a different camera angle or something?
Yes, sir. I will.
We don't have a lot of passing action going on right now.
A wee little overtake, but that's for Scott Crosstick out there. So here we go. Let's have a look at one of the overtakes here. Not too many, but there it is. Gene sending it up the inside, seizing an opportunity. I'd have to say Craig did leave the door open, and as James likes to say, you leave the door open, my friend, you get burgled. But he was coming back side by side through here, but didn't quite get them a moment, tucked in behind. Craig now is running out of time in this race if he wants to try to re-steal that P1 position back, because we have 5 minutes remaining. There's 5 minutes remaining.
My special effects friend.
Yes,
I guess this track must be tough to overtake on. Like I said, I don't have a lot of history here, so I can't speak to, I don't have any experience watching races here, but looking down through the field, and everybody's kind of leveled out. This is one of the better battles on the track right now. You got Dillon-based Bliss, DBB. I'm going to just call him that too now, I think. Closing in on Jared Love.
And
see how that battle shakes out there.
Bringing it to Mr. Sean Clark, and that's another battle.
Sure is. Sure is.
Going for it. Out wide.
Going for it right there.
Side by side. You can see him currently on your pictures down the back stretch. And a sweeping hairpin to our left, stage left, their right. And around the outside, not with two trailer park girls. Adrian Hatfield gets up into P12.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was... we've seen some respectful passing, haven't we? Like nobody's trying to slam the door on anybody else, or it just seems to be everybody's like, well, you got the position, I'm just gonna stay out here, and we'll see if that holds true in 3 or 4 minutes when this thing comes down to the end, because Craig is closing back up a little bit on Gene there. I think Craig's gonna give one more shot here.
Yes, he is. It reminds me, I've just put a little note down there. Add slamming door sound effect. I wanted to do that when somebody gets an overtake on somebody and then slams the door. Sound effects will come up here. There currently, at the moment, is the lap times between our top two. And you can see they are exchanging a little bit as... Yep, there's Mr. Craig Corish. As you can see, he has been slicing almost half a second on that last lap. So let's see if Gene can respond. And there it is. Gene has responded by actually the other way around. There it is. 6 tenths gained there for
Craig's closing
Gene.
it up. He's clearly going to try to make a run here in the last couple of laps. And Andy White's pulling back up there a little bit too. He was a few seconds back, and now he's got him back there in his sights anyway,
I was going to say, saving the best for last, isn't it? And it will be saving the best for the last couple of laps, but is time running out on their side? Because one thing to catch, as we know, it's another thing to overtake.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, apparently this track is not the easiest to overtake. So, like you said, we'll see.
Just wondering what little chat's going on there. Hating in the chat? Why is there a hating in the chat? I didn't see any hate in the chat. Lee?
Oh, I think Jose was making a joke about her running a track day or something. And
I thought it was genuinely asking about Lee's.
No, I think
racing.
He was maybe potentially saying that going to a track day is not racing or something.
Oh, well, keep it nice out there, please. Everybody's putting in effort in. We all need to get along. It's his only virtual racing here. We're here to have some fun. We're here to gain some experience. We're here to Dude, this
I don't
is a
know,
hobby here, so, you know.
I don't know what track she's raced at or not, but I definitely know she owns a race car. That's better than you and I.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
sure.
And that's
Right?
remember,
I'd
it's
love to own me a
expensive
Radical.
sport, too, so you got to put a lot of time and money into that. Well, simulation racing is also expensive, but real-life
You're
racing is
telling me.
10 times more.
Yeah, it's we've got a track not too far from my house here that does like it's like a Mazda. I guess it's kind of like the Mazda Cup thing that they have on iRacing. Those kind of cars, the MX or whatever they are, the MX-5s or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and
Those things boogie.
yeah, they race them out here all the time. And my son does go-kart racing at the same facility. They have a go-kart facility there as well. And so we've watched them run out there a lot. And they also have supercars out there from time to time running, like Lamborghinis and Porsches and all that stuff. It's fun. Too expensive for my blood, though. I'll stick to my simulator.
Yeah, it is. Well, does your son race, as we're seeing the dying stages of this race, the top three now are separated by a few pencils and papers that we have.
Craig is all over Gene right here.
Yeah, he realizes there's just dying opportunities here to retake that P1 position where he started the race on at the moment, but I'm sure Gene is happy to keep that door firmly shut and try to steal this race.
We're going to get a little battle here. We got something brewing here, I got a feeling. White flag, there it is.
Yeah, Buddy says this is it. If you're going to do anything right now, gentlemen, this is the time. Gene, if you're going to remain in P1, you got to hold them off there for the Fly Navy machine.
Barney's well-traveled, you know? He's everywhere.
He is, yeah, but he's complaining about his pay rise because he does so much.
He probably does. His poor arm. I bet his right arm is huge.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, not like Tim Cook that waved a flag in one of the Formula 1 races, and it looked like he was struggling to do that. He was like, he's sitting behind a desk too much there, Tim Cook, as the CEO of Apple. But again, how many flags does he need to wave? Here we go.
Oh.
That's one opportunity. It's not many passing overtaking opportunities here at Jerez, and that's one that Gene says, okay, thank you. I've just got to hold off a couple more, as you can see on your track map. I'd say there is two sweeping right-handers coming up soon that they perhaps get a good run out of that, and then there's not too much that you can do until the next hairpin. And this is, I'd say, he's lining it up for that right now. Craig realizes this is it. We got two sweeping corners to the right here. You want to build up momentum. I wouldn't be sticking your nose in here to get chopped off just yet. You want to get as close as you possibly can to this hairpin coming up right now. Sweeping to the right. Where's he going to go? Is it very, very defensive? He's not close enough, but he's going to go the over and under, side by side. I figured this is where the final movement will have to be. It's not going to be enough.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Or will be a sprint to the line, but bingo. It's job done.
Yeah, that was nice little run at him there.
Absolutely. The dying stages to this race, he gave it everything, but wasn't enough there because Gene gets the job done. Congratulations. That is a P1 2 positions gain under a lot of pressure towards the end as well, and actually had to really slug it out for many laps behind Craig to get that OT done.
They had a nice battle the whole race, you know. I mean, they didn't get much further than a second apart for most of that race.
Jared Love will get the AM victory, slotting into P6 there, and behind him will be DBB there and Phil Giles. Still waiting for a few more drivers around there. Peter Woodmore, who had a few moments earlier, had some sign of race pace there, pulls into pit road. Doesn't even complete the lap, or will be completing the lap in pit road, like what Michael Schumacher did one year to win a race. He had to serve a penalty. He had to serve a penalty. Yeah, he had to serve a penalty. Went down a pit lane, and the Ferrari pit box was after the line, and so thus couldn't serve the penalty and won the race.
Yeah, I can't think of her name now. The female that was one of his race strategists. She's now one of the analysts on Formula One coverage. Ruth Buscombe.
All right.
She told that story about that strategy for that particular race during one of the coverages. It was interesting, funny story.
There you have it. So I knew you were a walking Wikipedia of
Yeah,
knowledge, my friend, and that's that's F1 knowledge too. Not a lot of you Yankees right up there with the Formula One, but you certainly are there, Jim. We have our race results this evening after that. I'd say pretty exciting battles at the moment there, mate. But let's go over
yeah, it
those
was
results.
good battle up front. Good battle up front all night. All right, so yeah, finishing with the lead, finishing first, Gene McLuhan from the United States. Very nice to see Gene get that win this week after what happened last week to him. That was so unfortunate. Finishing second was Craig Korish with a good run there. Nice effort to try to catch him there at the end. Third place, rounding out the podiums, Andy White. Peter Duke, Harry Hartley Price, Jared Love with the amateur win tonight. Very good job by him. We got DBB, Dylan Bass Bliss, Phil Giles, Boz Cutting, and Scott Kostrick rounding out the top 10. And let's see, Sean Clark. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I skipped Aiden Hatfield. Didn't mean to do that to you, Aiden. You had a nice pass earlier, too. Aiden Hatfield, Sean Clark, Peter Woodmore, Christopher Haynes, John Johnston, Tim Reed. Leah Anderson retired early, and looks like Mark Wesley also retired early. And I guess Tim Reed did as well.
Thank you.
So
very
that
much.
rounds out your field. Yep.
And that was, it's an interesting race. And let's see if we can have a chin wagon to some of those drivers. And I believe we do have a couple in the
I put a message out there
room.
for him to get into the waiting room tonight. So let's see if we got anybody tonight over here.
We do. We have Jared and Phil. That's your pick at the moment, my friend. We could probably... What we'll do is we'll pull both in and so that they can hear each other's interviews. And we'll speak to one at a time.
Okay, so we got Phil Giles.
Hello, gentlemen. Right, Jared and Phil. We're going to bring you both in here so that you can listen to each other's interviews, but obviously we'll chat to one at a time. Jim, who would you like to have a chat to?
Well, Jared, let's talk to Jared. Congratulations on your amateur win tonight, 6th overall. That's a good run.
Yeah, it was a tough track. I always struggle with sort of kind of tracks that have a lot of like fast corners. I'm surprised I didn't spin, to be fair. All week I was spinning around in practice. So I kept it on the track, which was the main thing, I think.
I didn't have a lot of experience with this track going into tonight. So, it's interesting to hear your insight. It looked tough. Clearly passing was tough out there tonight.
Yeah, I don't think I made a single overtake the whole race, to be fair. But I know, Phil, we were chatting just quickly before coming in here. Every time everyone got within a second of each other, it was just so hard to keep that with the dirty air, and just really hard for close racing. Phil was quite close enough. I don't know who was behind me. I think it was maybe Dylan as well. The two of them had a fair go at catching me, but it's just so tough when you got close to people.
Yeah. Biggles, is there anything you'd like to?
Well, you got a little. GG's on getting the AM win as well too, Jared Love. You have a little Scottish flag on the rear wing there, my friend, and it sounds like you got a bit of a wee Scottish accent. Is that right, my friend?
That's correct. I think there's a few of us that are Scottish in the league. I think Scott Koster, I think, might be Scottish, and I'm sure I've seen a Scottish flag on someone else's car. So yeah, I don't know if the country's known for fast racers. Not that I'm fast by any stretch of the imagination, but I live not far from Knockhill, so it would be interesting if we ever get a chance to do that in the league. It'd be quite fun.
Yeah, well, DC will agree that that's known for fast Scotsmen, of course.
Well, no, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
How do you feeling like this one? Do you think this AM title could be yours in this momentum? We are still early days, but clearly you're showing that you're the one that has got the target painted on your back for the AM class.
Yeah, potentially. I obviously missed last week, and I know the GT3 scoring is quite different. I'm not massively into GT cars other than obviously racing them in game. I've always been more of an F1 fan, and the scoring's a bit different, so I don't know how much I'm set back from missing a race, but due to my work, I think I can make all the other sort of races of the league. So hopefully, if the pace continues, it could be a good fight. Phil's certainly fast, so could be a good battle for the title.
Yeah, well, just give me your boss's number, mate. I'll call him up and say, look, mate, this is 10 times more priority than your work, all right? So, we'll get that.
Unfortunately, not with the work I do, so needed sometimes. I'd love to be able to take it off, but
yeah,
and then
got to
we've got
pay
a
the
couple
bills,
of kids,
mate.
so practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, anybody you'd like to shout out to before we move on and talk to Phil?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't know. My dad might be watching. He certainly watched the Silverstone race and said he enjoyed the commentary from you guys. So shout out to my dad, I suppose, if he's watching. But no one else.
All righty. Well, we appreciate you coming in and chatting with us tonight. And good run tonight on Tough Track, like you said. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
All right. All right, Phil, you in here?
Yes, good evening.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Good run tonight, man. Good run.
Thanks very much. Yes, tough track. As Jerez was saying, it's very tight, one line, so it's quite difficult to find time. It's a lot of part throttle stuff, so you really need to know your way round to extract that last couple of tenths that make all the difference between, I guess, hero and zero.
Right. Yeah, you it's like I was telling him, I don't have a lot of experience here, but this it certainly looked difficult. I mean, we probably only had, 6 or maybe 8 good aggressive passes tonight. The rest of it was just a lot of follow the leader around, it seemed like.
It's definitely like that. It's actually a bike track, or mainly a bike track, used for like MotoGP and stuff like that. And for the bikes, it's no problem. They have some great races there. But for cars, yeah, it's obviously the width of them and all the rest of it, and the aero issue. It's a little bit of a procession, I must admit.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be good maybe for the like the Formula V's or something like that. Some of the smaller,
yeah, something
maybe
without
maybe
aero
the
that moves a
Mazda,
bit.
the MX-5s
Oh,
or
yeah.
something like that. But,
Now you're talking, yeah.
Yeah, you had a good run tonight, though. Do you? We did not get any standings update. Do you know where you stand in the?
I'd have thought I'd be leading because I won the last round.
Okay, yeah.
And then I don't know if I was second or third tonight. I don't know if it was the chap in between Jared and myself was in the amateurs or pros.
He's a pro.
Yes.
That was Dylan,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
So second, then yeah, Dylan. That's it. Yeah. So first and second. So I imagine
we
I'm
got you.
leading.
We got you with the correct second this time. We had you.
yeah.
We tried to take your win away from you last week, and I do apologize for that too. And
your little sneaks.
yeah, well, you earn a victory. You need to be recognized for it. These things are hard to come by sometimes. So
Definitely in this group. Yeah, there's some fast lads in this group, and
Definitely.
so it's. I'm certainly trying to hang on to their coattails as long as possible and see what I can do.
Well, we appreciate you stopping in and chatting with us. Anybody you want to shout out to before we let you go?
It's a bit of a joke, but I'll thank the missus for letting me have a couple of nights in the garage.
Believe me, you would not believe how many men thank their wives for letting them do this.
It should be the first person you thank exactly. Otherwise, you're sleeping in your racing rig tonight.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
I also just got a text, mate, from Lewis Hamilton. He said, "Can you please return his Ferrari?"
Yeah, exactly.
And you are the lead Ferrari as well, too. It's only Christopher
You
Haynes
are.
that uses it. So obviously the car feels good, mate. Is it? Ferrari?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too familiar with iRacing. I've mainly come from. This is my first GT3 season on iRacing. I normally do ACC, but Chris is actually a colleague of mine at work, and I've dragged quite a few people from work into sim racing, trying to get them into the GT3 on Tanso, so we can race quite competitively. But I've only bought one car, so I bought the same car I used in ACC, so I'll start there. So it seems to be okay. But looking at the results at the last race and here, it seems like the Porsche has a bit of something, certainly in the current BOP that we're using. So I'm going to have a work cut out keeping hold of Jared, I think.
A lot depends on the tracks too. You'll run into a series of tracks that fit the Ferrari and don't fit the Porsche as well. So your tracks will come for sure. But as long as you keep running up there in first or second like that, they're going to have a hard time with you.
I hope so.
All right, we appreciate you stopping in. We'll hopefully talk to you again next week.
Look forward to it. Thanks for your time,
All
guys.
right, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right, so let's see. I guess we drop them back.
Now we actually have our top 3. So we've dragged them all in as well too, so they can.
Yeah, let's do that. Just drag them all in.
Yep. Hello, gentlemen. We are going to drag all the top podium people in here because they're covered
we
in
got them all in
champagne
here at
and
the
they want
same
to have a
time.
chat to us. So, Jim, who would you like to have a chat to first?
Well, let's start off with Andy and Brendan finished on the podium tonight in third place. You had a good run. We noticed your strategy where you stayed out a lap or two after the leaders pitted. I guess you were hoping to make up a little time there with some clean track in front of you.
Yeah, we just tried something different. I had a lap's worth of fuel left, so I thought let's give it a shot. Didn't work out, but yeah,
It didn't really hurt you though. So it was that's like I said, you got to do something different. Try something a little different.
yeah. And we were struggling a little bit with the Mercedes to stay on these guys. These guys were fast, so it was really tough to stay with them.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. So I know with the 24 hours of Daytona this week, they did some adjustments to these cars. Did you find that the Mercedes was more competitive or less competitive after they adjusted for the Daytona 24 hour?
To be fair, it feels about the same with the fixed setup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought it seemed like some of the guys at Daytona were pretty fast in that car, but that car has a lot of horsepower. So, and obviously Daytona is a track that the horsepower pays off, obviously.
Yeah, it's great down the straight. It's a little bit of hard work in the corners, but yeah, it's really fun to drive. So
I struggle with it bad. I can't get the car Mercedes to turn for me. It just, requires a lot of trail braking.
Why do you think
Lewis
switched to the Ferrari? But yeah, that's too. Andy, do you think there's anything you think you had up your sleeve? Were you holding any cards there to perhaps lay them on the counter and do anything to beat the two gentlemen up the road from you this evening?
no, I was just trying to hang on. Really stay in the tow and see if these guys came together or if one of them made a mistake. Just try and be there or thereabout to capitalise.
Well, you certainly had a good run. And anybody you'd like to shout out to before we move on?
Yeah, big thanks to Sean for organising the league, all the guys at Tanso and all the guys in HB Racing.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. You had a good run. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you. So, Craig.
Hello.
Hey, man. Good run tonight. You thought you were, you led a lot of the race early and looked like you had a little something there at the end. It just didn't quite get there.
Felt like I was doing all right. I had a couple of mistakes, but it looked like you were doing the similar mistakes. And then I had one, what I thought was a big mistake. I had to let off the power quite a lot. That closed the gap. And the story wrote itself. But I saw towards the end that it looked like he was struggling with his tyres, and that gave me the encouragement, and I closed the gap. Tried to do a switch on the last hairpin, bit longer straight, maybe paid off, but yeah, very good. Enjoyed it.
It was that last little battle. It did look like he was struggling with his tires a little bit, and you sure did close up. You put you got rid of about 2 seconds in about 2 laps. You really closed that gap right up. It was we really thought you were going to have something for him there at the end, and you almost did.
I tried my best. That's all.
You had a good run. You had a good run.
Thank you.
So, anybody you'd like to holler at before we move on?
Just basically the same as Andy. Shout out to Sean, sorting the leagues out. Tanso lads and the HB lads.
Yeah, they do a good job. Seems like a good league. I'm hanging around in all the chat rooms in there and stuff, and it seems like a good bunch of guys.
Yeah, it is a good bunch of guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Congratulations. Another good run for you.
Thank
you. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Yep, hopefully.
All right. Gene, how you doing? Is it Gene, by the way?
It is. I heard you guys asking. It is indeed.
Oh, we were hoping you'd finally get to chat to us because we'd been probably pronouncing your name a couple of wrong ways, but I trusted in old Jim there because you're from the his neck of the woods, mate, United States of America, right, Gene?
Yeah, I am. Last week didn't go so good, so I was glad to have a better race this week.
Man, I felt so bad for you last week. you hate to see anybody have connection issues, but to be leading the race and have it go down.
It was a good race, and it's very competitive, so I wasn't, by any means, didn't have it won. So that stuff happens, and that's how it goes.
That's a good attitude. I mean, it's about, especially when we're dealing with the internet and things like that, it's certainly not a given, but yeah, that was a good run you had last week, and obviously nice run tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Did the race?
I'm sorry.
Did it go like you figured it was going to go?
Yeah, it's a tough track. I really like to commend Craig and Andy for their drives. I mean, that was very clean, very predictable, fun. Any one of us could have won that race. Craig drove flawless, except for one mistake, and that's the little window that I needed to try to get alongside, and that was really all that separated us. And I was under pressure all the way to the end, as you saw, and had that race been another lap, I'm pretty sure he would have got around me. So it was just very fortuitous, very, very fun, and a great drive by those gentlemen too.
Yeah, and Dean, you want to ask anything, or?
I think it's good. Once again, Ed, so with barring any dingoes eating your internet cable, you managed to bring it home, have some great battles on track, and lots of respect, as you said, between the drivers. And exactly, my friend, you got that Fly Navy number 92 Porsche, which seems to be a very strong car that a lot of the drivers are choosing to use around here. You're not backing off that Daytona 24, are you there, mate?
No, I don't. I only drive the Porsche. I've never even driven the other cars, so I'm kind of a Porsche-phile. So I don't even know what the other cars are like.
You might not need to, mate, because this looks like this is the winning car anyway. So yeah, congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
No, I guess I would. I'd like to thank Sean for inviting me back and having this league, and I appreciate the broadcast. And I guess I'll just shout out to my wife and say thanks, Jen, for letting me play video games during the day here in the States.
Simulation, sir. This is not a game.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Simulation.
That's right.
I'll make you sleep on the sofa, but it's good that you're thanking your partner, because that's always a good thing, as we heard from the other drivers before. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well,
thank you very much.
Well, congratulations again. Glad to see you were able to finish it off this week after what happened to you last week. So, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Obviously, you're going to be a tough competitor all season here. So glad to see that. Good. Thanks for representing good old USA in the afternoon race for us over here in the States. Well, he might not be a cowboy now. What part of the country are you from, Gene?
Oh, I grew up in upstate New York, but I lived in California. I served most of my career around the world, but I stuck in San Diego and California.
Military man.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. Well,
figured that San Diego, and when you've traveled around, that said instantly. Yeah. And I presume Navy.
Yeah, Navy. San Diego's a very big Navy town in the United States.
That's what I figured. Yeah, exactly. So, and of course, the livery on your car gives it away too.
Yeah. I try to have simple paint job that gets the point across. I guess.
Well, I love that paint scheme on your car. Actually, I run a lot of Navy liveries, like Navy airplane liveries, like the old Corsair and the Jolly Rogers and stuff like that. So,
I'm a big Navy Rogers,
yeah, Navy supporter. I did my boot camp in great mistakes.
Yeah, I've heard that joke a few times. So thanks for your service. Thank you for serving, though. I mean,
thank you.
You did your part, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for your service to the United States military as well too. That's
well, all right. Well, we appreciate it. We enjoyed having you, and we'll hopefully talk to you again next week.
All right. Have a good weekend, gentlemen.
Thank you. You too.
There we have it. I think we'll wrap it up because I need a little bit of a lay down because I got 2 more to go today. It's just to start early in the morning. But what a fantastic race, wasn't it, Jim? Where there was action, and you had a little bit of a podcast of us. You've got the Jim's Walking Wikipedia of knowledge, and it's your first trip. We'll get some tappers and some fine wine now whilst we're here before we have to fly back and to the other parts of the world. I'm not sure what I'm flying too soon, actually. The next race coming up. I'm not going to think about that right now. Pleasure again, Jim.
Yes, always. Yep. So I appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week. Look forward to it.
Clark St. James,
Clark St. James, yes.
To thank, of course, being a proud sponsor of this fantastic racing league at the Tanso Racing Group. Of course, you can join the Tanso Racing group. All the information's below as well too, and be a part of these gentlemen. It's great driving. You heard from the drivers; they have a lot of respect for each other, and it looks like it's also a fun league to be a part of too, and hang out with the lads there, and also getting into a racing community also means that you're going to help improve your own racing as well too if you've got the spare time. If the missus allows you to get behind the rig, and as long as you thank them at the end of the day. And Jim, thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everybody.
All right.